How to get your kid to ignore you. Seriously? You really want to know how to get your kid to ignore you? Okay, sure, I can give you tips on that. Okay, if you want your kid to ignore you, I mean, like really just like not listen to you ever, then what you should do is tell them what to do all day long. Like just from morning till night, constantly be telling them, like, Jimmy, wash your hands. Jimmy, get dressed. Jimmy, do this. Jimmy, eat breakfast. Jimmy, get to school. Jimmy, you're going to be late. Jimmy, just constantly be telling them what to do all day long. I guarantee you, you will become like white noise. They won't hear you anymore because you're just constantly do this, do that, da, 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 and they just won't hear you anymore. If you want your child not to listen to you, to like completely ignore you, then constantly be nagging them and telling them, okay, clean your room, and clean your room, and clean your room, and clean your room, and just say it over and over and over. But don't really mean that they should actually do it. Like, this is a really good one. If you want your child to ignore you, what you should do is call out across the entire house and tell them what you need. Like, well, if you call dinner and they're hungry, they might actually come. So, call like, time for chores. Just call them and say, come come wash the dishes, or go put away your laundry. I guarantee you, if you just like call across the entire house, they will ignore you. If you want your kid to ignore you, then not only like call out across the whole house and repeat yourself all over and over, but don't actually mean what you're saying. Like just, like in your mind, expect that they're not actually going to listen. Then for sure they won't listen. If you want your kid not to listen, then specifically pick the points when you see that they're very busy. Like if they're with a friend or they're on their phone, like, at a specific doing something very like, they're texting with a friend. Or if you see that they're in the middle of like a movie or they're doing something like really intense, for sure pick that specific time to call them to come do something. They'll for sure ignore you. If you want your kid to ignore you, then when you're asking them to do things, like just get annoyed at the same time that like they don't do anything for you or they don't do enough, or you're always asking them to, and like, how many times do I have to tell you to, and could you come and do it, and sound like you're like super annoyed with them, they'll for sure ignore you. I have so many more tips on getting your kids to ignore you. I still can't figure out why you want to know like how to get your kid to ignore you, but if on the slightest chance you want to help your kids to listen to you, I actually have a really awesome 10-day challenge coming up called Mischief Managed. I know, I love the name. Mischief Managed, 2x your kids listening and cut power struggles in half. And on the slight chance that you want your kids to listen to you and not ignore you, then you can feel free to join the challenge.